Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. A continuation from what the last part of the concept or the origin of Islam, as I explained in previous discussion when I talked about that from the beginning, Abraham, which is the father of all nations, had two children, which are two sons, which are Ishmael or Ishmael and Isaac, Ishaq in Arabic. Now, before those along the line, passing through the process in the Jewish line, they have a son by the name of David from Jesse. Jesse was the father of David. David has a significant role to play in the coming of the Messiah. Like I said, now we know that Messiah, before we go into detail about Messiah, because the Messiahship, which stemmed out as Jesus, because Jesus Christ is the Messiah. And this was prophesied earlier on by Isaiah, saying that he will come from the line of David. It was said in the book of Isaiah chapter 9 verse 7, 6 and 7, it said there will be a child born to us and he will be from the lineage of David, and he is the word Prince of Peace, the everlasting Father, the mighty God, and he is the Messiah. Now, having that in mind, this prophecy came out at the end of the day. We're expecting some 500 or 600 years after exile until the advent of Christ. It was said that when John the Baptist John the Baptist was baptizing people in the river Jordan, it was recorded that when people come to him for baptism, the news reached the Jews and the chief priest, which then was Caiaphas. It was said he reached them and they sent some priests and some Levites to request for who John was. Was he the Christ they were expecting that was prophesied by Isaiah, or was it someone else? We now see that from the book of John chapter 1 verse 19 to 21, it was recorded that when they came, they asked John the Baptist, "Are you the Christ?" John said, "No, I confessed." Often, I confessed I am not the Christ. Then they further asked him, "Are you Elijah or Elias?" He said, "No, I am not Elijah." Because Elijah, they read in their books of history and some Jewish tradition that Elijah did not see the day when he disappeared and no one knew his whereabouts. So they were asking for, they thought he would reincarnate back again. They say, oh, they were expecting Elijah. So was it Elijah? He said, no. They asked him again, are you the prophet? Now we'll come to that, who the prophet was. But we know that the Christ is not John the Baptist, as he confessed. And he also said he wasn't Elijah. That he said is the messenger declaring the message, because there was a prophecy some years before, 300 years before the baptism took place. And that prophecy was done by Malachi. The book of Malachi chapter 3 verse 1, it said, there will come a messenger who will prepare the way for the messenger of covenant. And we know the messenger of covenant, which is Christ, as said in the Bible. This is what the Bible says. Now we look it from there that John the Baptist was clarifying his position that he wasn't the Christ. That although Christ would come, and he also said that he wasn't Elijah. So Elijah has not reincarnated or will never reincarnate. And he also said he wasn't the prophet. We know who the prophet was when we come in subsequent part of this discussion. Now we go on. Now looking at from the same Bible, let's examine how Jesus was, because Jesus, we know, was a Messiah. Book of Matthew chapter 16 verse 16 to 19, it was recorded that when Jesus sat his disciples down, asking them who I am, and some disciples were promptly responded, saying that oh, you are the son of David, or you are the son of so and so prophet, or you are a prophet. And Peter stood up last and said, you are the Christ. Now, that was said, and Jesus said, no one revealed this to you but God, through his Spirit. And observing from that verse, the Bible, we look at that Jesus Christ is, or Jesus himself is the Christ, Yeshua. Now, Looking at it again, was he called son of David or was he called son of God? This is a kind of disagreement among the Christians. Or we Muslims, we do not believe that he was a son of God by birth. We believe that he was Christ. And I've said that yet on that in previous parts of our discussions on this platform. Now, before that, let's examine some verses in the Bible to confirm that he wasn't son of God by birth. Rather, he was Christ. And he was also called, he called himself Son of Man, most cases, as recorded in many passages in the Bible, like for example, book of Matthew chapter 27, verse 40, 41. Then the blind men came and they shouted, "O Son of David." And he said, "The Son of Man had not reached his destination. So don't call." Then they repeated it and called him, "Oh, Son of David," until he responded to them. Now he knew he wasn't Son of God as this bird, but he was Son of Man, as he informally called himself. And also, it was recorded similar in the same Bible, my book of Matthew again, chapter 26. It was recorded verse 66 to 68 says that when they call him Son of David, and Matthew chapter 1, verse 1, when Matthew was giving his genealogy of Christ, he called him, "This is the one born to us, son of David, son of Abraham." He was known as son of David or son of Abraham. Now, sometimes based on genealogy, and look at it from another passage of the Bible, book of Mark chapter 15, verse 30 to 31, 32, it was said that the blind men came to him and they called him son of David, and they knew that he was son of David. They always say he was son of man. Now he used to informally call himself son of man. Similarly, in the book of Luke, chapter 23, verse 35, recorded the same thing, that he was called the son of David. Similarly, it was book of Luke chapter 22, verse 66 to 68, the same thing. So we see from the Bible recorded in most cases that he was son of man, son of David. And if you look at it from another side, look at it, this is how they said about him. When they want to accuse Jesus Christ, did they actually accuse him to be son of God? Because the accusation they accused him of was never son of God. You observe the accusation, they accused him, never called him son of God. They rather called him son of, they could have said he was king of the Jews. Like I said in those Bible, see the biblical verses I quoted, he was said to be son of, that he was king of the Jews. That's what the accusation they accused him of. They never accused him of being son of God. They accused him of being what? Like for example, we go to the Bible, we see that when they accuse book of John chapter 18, we see that when Pontius Pilate was being said to interrogate Jesus, when the chief priest Caiaphas brought him before him, he said, "Are you actually the king of the Jews?" Because the accusation there was they were saying he's the king of the Jews. And I said, "Are you actually the king of the Jews?" Then he said, "No, that he is not the king of the Jews." Because in most cases they called him king of the Jews. This was the argument. But most times they do not call him king of the Jews. They rather they do not call him the son of God. So they had called him son of God, it was be a big blasphemy to the people of the Jews. But the people of the Jews never believed there was someone called son of God. They believed that the son of God, based on the language then, was the angels. And anyone who comes on earth and says son of God has committed a grievous sin to the people of the Jews. So they do not view him to be son of God. Rather, they view him based on what